Welcome back. You're listening to Real Talk with Brian and Dan on 1150 AM KKNW. I'm Brian.
And I'm Dan.
Our first guest is Katie Munoz of Moving Forward. Katie is a move manager, humorist, and founder of Moving Forward. She started her business back in 2004 after her mother needed to move from the family home to a retirement apartment. Katie, tell us a bit about yourself.
Well, I'm wondering what's the most important thing you want to know.
Well, what do you do when you're not helping people move?
I want to know about the humorist part.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Okay. Yeah, I love telling funny stories.
Excellent.
Just love
Well, let's
doing
hear a
that.
funny story.
Uh-oh, she's on the spot now.
Uh-huh.
Totally on the spot. Okay, in high school, I was super goody two-shoes, never missed a class. But I really wanted to do something wild. So my best friend and I, we decided we were going to skip school. And we had to plan this so it wasn't like over a test or some really important moment. But we got it figured out. We were in different classes. We had to time it. We each took a note to the office that's like, your principal, I'm excusing Katie Martin from class for a dentist appointment. I'll be there to pick her up at 10:30. So Suzanne put one in. I put one in for slightly different times. Well, then the parent has to call in and say yes, and
That's true.
So
Yeah.
I had to sneak out of this film, so it's like Mission Impossible, crawling up the aisle. I get to the payphone in the school, and they have torn the page out of the directory that has the number to the school.
For the school's number?
Oh, no.
But
Evidently, you weren't the first one to think about doing that.
no. I call information. I get the number. I make the call. Yes, this is Lucille Martin, and indeed, my daughter Catherine does have a dental appointment. Oh, okay. Oh, hey, hold on a minute. Now, I should have known to hang up at that point. I'm really busy. I gotta go. But instead, it was like, okay. And about 30 seconds later, there's this lady that gets on there and says, Lucy, is that you? Hey, how are you doing? How's Bill? How's the kids? And it's like, how do I know? My mother's best friend's sister works in the front office.
Oh, did you not know that?
No, I didn't know that. Meanwhile, Suzanne, we're in different classes. She doesn't know I've already been busted, so she is trying to make her call.
No.
And her voice goes up a couple of octaves. It was like they say, "Oh, I don't think I'm really speaking to an adult." Oh, yes, you are. So we both ended up on trash pickup duty for the rest of the week in the
nailed.
cafeteria. Yeah.
Oh, my gosh.
That's good.
That's very humorous. Very good. Well, so this is also a show about real estate. And so we like to hear your story growing up. Tell us about something that you remember from the home you grew up in.
Oh, it was the coolest place. We had townhouses and big shared backyards. It was kind of like living with an extended family. We might not have all been related, but, and it was hot. Nobody had air conditioning. So in the summer, everybody's lawn chairs are out in the backyard. The barbecues are all going.
Kiddie pools going.
Yeah, it was just a giant party all the time. I don't know that the adults liked it that much, but we kids just
liked
had
it.
a
That's great.
blast.
So how do you help someone move?
We can help with a whole range of things, and it's as much or as little as a person wants. So we can help them sort out what they want to take with them. We can help them make a floor plan. We can do all of the packing, and then they can skip move day altogether. They can come in that night when it's unpacked, put away, the beds are made, the towels are out.
Wow. So this started back in 2004.
Yeah, well, the very beginning used to be in software.
Okay.
And things weren't going very well over there. But there you have it. You can't just quit your job because you don't like it. And we were having a recession, so, I get a call one day that my father's health has taken a turn from the worse, and I need to get back and say goodbye. So I go to work one more day, and it's semi-annual layoff day, and I got the axe.
Semi-annual.
Yeah, okay. Well, it was probably the 9th round, right? And, on one hand, I was so relieved to be gone. On the other hand, It is so insulting to be laid off. What do you mean you didn't have anybody less incapable than me? You know? But it gave me time to go back to Virginia, to be with my parents, to see my father before he passed. And his biggest concern was what would happen to my mother after he was gone.
Yeah.
So I promised, I'll stay back here as long as it takes to get her moved and settled and the house sold. And I had no idea what a gigantic project it was that I was promising to do. Of course, I stayed and I did it, but it took 3 months.
Wow.
And I had to make it up as I was going along. And by the end, I'm thinking, dang, I wish I could do this over. I could do it in 2.5 weeks. We would have saved a ton of money. We would have saved a lot of time. It would have been easier on my mom. And when I got back here, I thought, I'm just going to start a business making this easier for other families to get through.
Well, you've made my next, question easy for me is how you got started. But I've known you for some time, and I remember a conversation way back when, and I could be wrong here, but I was thinking you have a background in occupational therapy as well?
No,
Okay.
I don't. I do an awful lot of reading, and so I
Yeah.
have kind of a informal background in psychology.
Okay.
That's
So-
probably very helpful.
Yeah.
It's been useful understanding what's going on in the other person's head, remembering to reflect the feelings that I'm hearing them express rather than telling them how they ought to feel. you know?
Interesting.
Very good.
Yeah.
Yep. So as this process evolved, you started with a niche with senior citizens who are moving into retirement communities. Is that the only people you help?
No, actually, we help people in divorces. We help busy software engineers. We help people that are just overwhelmed by the whole process or have something better they want to do. And we don't discriminate against you youngsters.
I love how you said that, you
That's good.
youngsters. That's a Virginia coming out there, huh?
Yeah, probably so.
So when I think about the whole process, why not just do it yourself? I mean, I know there's an answer to that.
Well, yeah, there are so many crazy things that can go wrong. I mean, I ran into a ton of them when I helped my mom move. You don't realize how long it takes to sort. You don't realize how much stuff you can keep in the cupboards. You start packing, and it's like, oh my gosh, if there's more than I ever thought. We're still packing. The movers are loading the truck. There's no way we're going to finish. There's, forgetting and packing up all the can openers, not being able to find them that night, losing your cell phone charger. I mean, there are so many crazy things that can go wrong. We've already found these things. Every time we run into another one of these things, it goes in the employee manual, so we're never
Process.
going to run into that again. We can make it so much smoother.
So generally, is this an expensive cost?
Compared to the amount of money you're going to spend by not paying attention to us.
Right.
It's not cheap. I'll be honest. We charge $85 per hour. That's for travel time and for work time. But we can get somebody moved in a matter of 2 weeks easily. And when people are doing it on their own, they tend to do it in the wrong order. And it can take like 2 years. And then, somebody hurts their back, somebody's...
What's a good example of wrong order? Because I mean, we actually just moved out and back. We're doing a remodel in our kitchen,
Right.
and so some of the things you're talking about, like where'd the wine key go? Where did this?
Yeah, right.
Those things.
Yeah, priorities.
Right. What kind of order? What's like a big order mistake that you just say, hey, stop?
It happens right up front. When most of the moves you do in a lifetime, you're going from either the same size place to the same size place, or you're going to a bigger place. So it makes sense to sort everything out, get rid of the junk you don't want to take, and then move. If you do that on a downsizing move, going from like 2,500 square feet to 1,000, it's going to take forever.
Yep.
You don't do that. What you do is you ask, what do I use? the most, and you don't answer any other question, people will go off on, oh my gosh, can I sell it? Oh, if I don't keep it, what's going to happen to it? Oh, maybe Jean wants it. Oh no, Jean is downsizing. It can just, it's crazy.
Squirrel.
Yeah, exactly. So
Right.
what you do is you move the basics, get into the new context, let the dust settle a little bit. You look around, you say, hey, I got room for 2 pictures on the wall. You look in the cupboards, I got room for this many more dishes. It's not a matter of, can I take 3 sets of china and the turkey roaster? It's like, no, 1 set of china, or maybe I want to take some more vases. But the other thing that's really important is there's all this anxiety that people have before any move, but particularly a move when they have a move for 30 years. It's a life change. So all the anxiety about, will I like the new place? Is this, am I giving up on life? It projects itself on the sorting process, and it slows everything down. If you wait, you go back a few days later, you look around the attic or the garage, and you say, I'm not using any of this stuff. I'm in the quilting club now, and we're going to go out and see the tulips on Thursday. I'm not going skiing. I haven't been skiing in 10 years. It's suddenly so clear. And so we can save people a ton of time and confusion.
Going through that.
Yeah.
Well, let's see. Where are we at?
Dumpster.
Yeah.
Dumpster.
Yeah.
Oh,
Some people
my
say that
gosh.
you just get a dumpster. Do you think it's a good place to start?
Oh, I think that's the worst place to start.
Well, tell us about that.
I don't want to be sexist, but I'm afraid it's usually the sons that propose the dumpster. Mom's got a bunch of doilies in China, and the sons are looking at it and going, it looks like junk to me. It's wrong for so many reasons. For one reason, it just tears a person's heart to see the things they've loved be thrown in the dumpster. But it's also really expensive. You got to rent the dumpster. Then you got to do all of the work to take everything out and put it in the dumpster. And then you have to pay for the weight of everything you put in the dumpster. And the worst part is no opportunity now to potentially liquidate those things. If you do it the other way around, just move at the basics, go back, get a few things. Now you have everything left in the house, including the junk and the trash. Now we can bring in an estate sale company, and they can set the whole house up like a store.
Well, Katie, you just gave me an aha as you're mentioning this process. In the past, I've always, Brian and I know, and I have both interacted with people who they're in their home, and they're like, well, we'll sell it once we get, everything cleared out. And instead of identifying where they're going to be, get in that place. And then, like you said, go back. Take a couple things here, take a couple things there. Not until you started talking to me today about process did it occur to me that it makes a whole lot more sense to be where you're going to be before you start this process, so that you can take the things you need into the space that you're going to go. And that's really wise advice.
Well, thank you.
Yeah.
I've learned it the hard way. Everything I've learned has been by seeing what works and what doesn't work. Another thing that's really important is you can do the floor plan ahead of time. You build up again, what do I use the most? And when you're running out of room on the floor plan, it's pretty easy. It's like, I got room for one more thing. Do I take the rocking chair or the sewing machine?
So you mentioned estate sales. Do you help arrange that for clients?
Right, we do. We don't accept any referral fees from companies that we refer to, but we have 3 or 4 good estate sale companies that we've worked with over the years. We've got about the same number of auction companies, and we know who will take a small quantity, who needs the really high value, who's looking for the artwork, so that when we go into a house, even at the very beginning, we can look around and say, I think we've got a situation for this particular estate sale company. And if we know we're heading towards an estate sale, then we know not to throw anything out, not to donate anything. One of the huge mistakes people make if they hope to sell is they donate all the clutter and junk, and that's where the money's made.
And there was some value in
that's
that.
funny.
Yeah.
Yeah.
One of my clients, their estate sale did $4,500. in the whole weekend. I mean, that's great. That's a lot of money to anybody. Thank you for coming in and visiting. It was great. Now, if somebody's thinking about downsizing, how do they get a hold of you?
Well, the very best thing they can do is pick up the phone and dial. I am just happy to chat with people on the phone. Maybe all they need is 5 minutes worth of free advice. That number is 425-702-8761. Or if you'd rather, visit our webpage, www.movingforwardinc.com. That's movingforwardinc.com.
Katie, thanks so much for joining us today. Our next guest is a gift from above. After the break, we'll be joined by Angel Barna with Venture Life and Health. We'll be right back.